In this podcast episode, Brendon Burchard shares deep insights on how personal preferences act as limits in our lives and how high performers overcome them to achieve extraordinary success. The conversation explores the role of non-negotiable commitments, the relationship between preferences and performance, the importance of responsibility, and the ways future vision shapes present actions. Brendon and the host also discuss practical mental frameworks for expanding one's capacity to handle complexity and struggle, as well as the significance of emotional readiness for handling life's challenges and opportunities. Brendon introduces a pivotal idea that our life preferences become the ceiling for our success and problem-solving capacity. Everyone has an inherent preference toward the level of problem complexity they are willing to take on. Some prefer no problems at all, which stifles growth, while others, like Elon Musk, willingly embrace massive, complex challenges. For most, the avoidance of hard problems limits their progress. Breaking through this complexity ceiling requires consciously deciding not to let preferences dictate performance or aspiration. High performers don't seek ease. Instead, they acknowledge and honor struggle, pushing forward despite discomfort or difficulty. The discussion highlights that successful people maintain non-negotiables in key areas of life: health, relationships, work. But these are anchored not in their preferences, but in their commitment to a bigger vision. Preferences such as wanting to avoid sugar or preferring solitude must be overridden by dedication to future goals. Brendon uses his own experience to illustrate this, sharing how becoming a team leader and expanding his responsibilities departed from his natural preference for solitude, but aligned with his broader vision. The ability to prioritize the aspirational self over momentary comfort is essential to breakthrough. Responsibility is reframed as a coveted challenge embraced by high performers rather than a burden to avoid. They deliberately choose responsibilities aligned with their vision, showing up to manage these duties with competence and pride. The mindset shift from seeing responsibilities as negative to viewing them as privileges and growth opportunities enables sustainable progress. The guests emphasize that people who don't take responsibility often stagnate or regress in life. Embracing responsibility with maturity is a mark of self-reliance and personal empowerment. A key practical tool shared is Brendon's free framework, beginning with the F for feeling. He encourages listeners to clarify the aspirational feelings they want to experience daily, whether centeredness, boldness, or connection, and then actively generate those feelings regardless of external circumstances. Rather than waiting for conditions to feel right, high performers create the internal state they want to operate from. This mental practice allows a shift from reactive stimulus response patterns to proactive emotional self-regulation. The R in the FREE acronym stands for responsibility, which involves handling daily obligations through the lens of the aspirational self, not the current preference or circumstances. Instead of avoidance or complaining, high performers ask themselves how their best future self would act in moments of difficulty, whether managing relationships, business challenges, or personal discipline. This intentional approach requires leaning into discomfort and making conscious decisions that align with long-term vision over short-term preferences. Expression, the next E in FREE, deals with how one shows up and interacts with others. Brendon stresses that aspirational expression is not about flashy performance, but learning to authentically and confidently communicate and relate to people in ways that align with personal growth goals. He notes that expression is a learned competency, not just a natural trait, and developing these skills expands influence and presence. The idea is to find the fullest, most authentic expression of one's best self, which in turn nurtures stronger connection and leadership. The final E focuses on expansion, growing impact, skills, networks, and capacity. Brendon and the host discuss their own tangible examples of expansion, such as moving from individual roles to leadership positions and investing in bigger visions like family, business, and community. Expansion is often uncomfortable because it pushes beyond existing preferences and comfort zones, but it is critical to realizing one's full potential. The commitment to ongoing growth prepares the individual to meet future demands and aspirations effectively. Throughout the episode, Brendon weaves the notion of continuous preparation for future challenges: emotional, relational, financial, and professional. He shares how investing years in emotional healing and skill development readied him for milestones like marriage, parenthood, business scaling, and athletic pursuits. This preparation enables steadiness amid crisis and stresses such as the COVID-19 pandemic. Being ready so you don't have to get ready means building internal resilience and competencies ahead of time to more gracefully handle life's inevitable hardships. A transformative practice discussed is having an ongoing internal dialogue with one's aspirational future self. This mental engagement allows people to remember the future over past failures or fears, aligning present actions with desired outcomes. Time traveling in the mind helps reframe current decisions, like financial investments or lifestyle changes, through the lens of future gratitude and success. This dialogue fosters hope and conviction that fuels disciplined action and expansion. Brendon touches on the often unseen psychological barriers that accompany success, such as imposter syndrome and lack of fulfillment. When achievements outpace belief or personal identification with those outcomes, feelings of inadequacy or emptiness can persist. Fulfillment is described as the alignment of belief, desire, and manifested reality. Without earnest belief in one's potential, external success alone does not bring true peace or satisfaction. This insight underscores the need to build strong internal belief systems alongside external accomplishments. The conversation acknowledges that people often arrive at low energy or overwhelmed states due to competing demands and neglected self-care. Brendon advises that shifting priorities, sometimes dramatically, is necessary to restore vitality and focus. Taking responsibility for one's own energy management might mean eliminating unnecessary obligations, delegating, or recalibrating activities to align with core goals. This deliberate reprioritization helps maintain sustainable high performance over time rather than burnout. Lastly, the importance of surrounding oneself with peers who embrace responsibility and growth is emphasized. The energy and mindset within one's community profoundly affect personal development trajectories. Being part of masterminds, coaching groups, or supportive networks creates a viral momentum of aspiration and accountability. Shifting to environments where responsibility is seen as positive and where people push each other to new levels is vital for sustained expansion and breakthroughs.